The moment Frodo put on the ring inside Mount Doom, everything changed. For months, Sauron believed he understood his enemies. He expected warriors, kings, and armies. He expected someone to claim the ring and challenge him. But he never expected this. Standing at the very place where the ring had been forged, Frodo Baggins made a choice that sent shockwaves across Middle-earth. "I do not choose now to do what I came to do. The ring is mine." But what happened inside Sauron's mind at that exact moment? Did he feel triumph, relief, or something far more terrifying? The sudden realization that his greatest mistake had just been exposed. Today we're exploring what Sauron actually felt when Frodo claimed the One Ring, and why those final moments reveal one of Tolkien's greatest ironies. Welcome back to Middle-earth Explained. Let's get started.
Just let it go!
The ring is mine.
To understand what Sauron felt when Frodo claimed the ring, we first need to understand one crucial fact. Sauron never believed the ring would be destroyed. This wasn't simply arrogance. Sauron judged everyone else by his own desires. The One Ring was the greatest weapon he had ever created, containing much of his own power. To him, anyone who possessed it would eventually try to use it. And honestly, the evidence seemed to support that belief. The ring tempted nearly everyone who came near it. Gandalf refused it. Galadriel refused it. Aragorn never attempted to claim it. They all knew its power was too dangerous. So, when Aragorn marched on the Black Gate, Sauron believed he understood the plan. He assumed someone had claimed the ring and was preparing to challenge him. What never crossed his mind was the true mission. While his attention was fixed on armies gathering at his gates, two hobbits were already making their way toward Mount Doom. And Sauron's greatest weakness was that he never saw them as a threat.
My master, Sauron the Great, bids thee welcome.
For most of the War of the Ring, Sauron remained confident. His enemies were marching toward the Black Gate exactly as he expected, and his attention was focused entirely on the battle unfolding before Mordor. Then, in an instant, everything changed. The moment Frodo claimed the ring inside the cracks of Doom, Sauron became aware of him. Tolkien describes it as a sudden shock. After searching endlessly for the ring across Middle-earth, Sauron finally sensed it, inside Mount Doom itself, at the very place where it had been forged. And with that realization came something even worse. He immediately understood his enemy's true plan. The armies at the Black Gate were not there to defeat him. Aragorn had not claimed the ring. The entire campaign had been a distraction. While Sauron watched his gates, Frodo and Sam had slipped into the heart of Mordor completely unnoticed.
Look, Mr. Frodo. A doorway. We're almost there.
Tolkien writes that Sauron's fear became a blazing flame as his mind grasped the danger he now faced. This wasn't fear of Frodo becoming a rival Dark Lord. Sauron knew a hobbit could never master the ring quickly enough to challenge him. No, the terror came from realizing that the ring, the foundation of his power, was suddenly within reach of destruction. For the first time in centuries, Sauron understood that he had made a catastrophic mistake.
Frodo! I'm here, Sam.
At first glance, it seems like Sauron's worst fears should have disappeared the moment Frodo claimed the ring. After all, Frodo had failed. The ring had reached the very edge of destruction, and at the final moment, its power proved too great. Instead of casting it into the fire, Frodo declared, "The ring is mine." In a sense, Sauron had been right all along. No one could willingly destroy the ring at the place where its power was strongest. But this was not the victory Sauron might have hoped for. The moment Frodo claimed the ring, he put it on. That act revealed his presence to Sauron instantly. More importantly, it revealed exactly where the ring was. Suddenly, the Dark Lord's attention shifted away from the Black Gate and toward Mount Doom. His entire will became focused on recovering the ring before it could be lost forever. Orders were sent immediately. The Nazgul turned away from the battle and raced toward the mountain with all possible speed. Yet, even then, Sauron faced a terrible problem. The ring was no longer safely hidden somewhere in Middle-earth. It was sitting above the fires that could unmake it forever. And despite all his power, Sauron was still too far away to reach it himself. If you enjoyed the video so far, don't forget to like and subscribe. So, what was Sauron feeling during those final moments? The answer is surprisingly clear. According to Tolkien, Sauron was overwhelmed by fear. The instant he realized the ring was at Mount Doom, he understood that everything he had built was hanging by a thread. For thousands of years, Sauron had dominated Middle-earth through careful planning, overwhelming force, and an almost complete belief in his own superiority. Now, for the first time, events had slipped beyond his control. Tolkien describes his reaction as a sudden and terrible realization. His mind turned completely toward the mountain. The battle at the Black Gate no longer mattered. The armies, the captains, even Aragorn himself became insignificant. There was only one thing that mattered now: the ring.
You have only one choice. The ring must be destroyed.
And perhaps the cruelest part was this: the disaster threatening him had not been caused by a mighty king, a legendary elf lord, or a powerful wizard. It had been caused by a hobbit, a creature Sauron barely understood and had never considered important. In that moment, the Dark Lord was forced to confront a truth he had missed from the beginning. His greatest weakness was not a lack of power. It was his inability to imagine that someone would choose humility over domination. And as the Nazgul raced toward Mount Doom, Sauron could do nothing except watch his fate unfold.
My heart tells me that Gollum has some part to play yet, for good or ill.
And then came the twist that Sauron could never have predicted. Just when it seemed that Frodo's failure had doomed Middle-earth, Gollum reappeared. Driven by his obsession with the ring, he attacked Frodo, bit the ring from his finger, and finally reclaimed his precious. For a brief moment, Gollum achieved the goal that had consumed him for centuries. But in his celebration, disaster struck. Dancing on the edge of the crack of doom, Gollum lost his footing and fell into the fire below, taking the ring with him. In an instant, everything changed. The ring was gone. What's remarkable is that Sauron had actually been correct about one thing all along. Frodo could not willingly destroy the ring. At the final test, he claimed it for himself. Yet Sauron was defeated anyway.
Destroy it! No. It should have ended that day, but evil was allowed to endure.
The Dark Lord had spent centuries trying to control every outcome, but his downfall came through a chain of events he could never have imagined. The fate of Middle-earth was ultimately decided not by power, but by chance, mercy, and the actions of a broken creature everyone else had overlooked. And the moment the ring vanished into the fire, Sauron felt the consequences immediately. In the end, Sauron was defeated by the one thing he could never understand. He could imagine someone seeking power. He could imagine betrayal, ambition, and conquest. But he could not imagine people willing to sacrifice power rather than claim it. That blind spot shaped every decision he made during the War of the Ring. And when the end finally came, it wasn't a king, a wizard, or an army that destroyed him. It was a hobbit, a promise of mercy, and a creature he never thought mattered.
I'm glad to be with you, Samwise Gamgee. Here at the end of all things.
If you enjoy exploring the deeper side of Tolkien's world, consider subscribing for more lore and mysteries from Middle-earth. And if you enjoyed the video, leaving a like really helps the channel. Thanks for watching, and as always, see you on the next one.